Welcome to the Dealmakers Coffee Break. I'm Asaf Raz. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the Dealmakers Coffee Break edition. And today we have one amazing guest, which I already like because we're both CrossFit fans. Noel Parnell. He's from Crown Capital. They've been doing some amazing work. Actually, Noel has been in the business since 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to tell you why one of the best things that happened to him in his life is getting fired and going into real estate, which I really like. So Noel, please take it away. Tell us about yourself and we'll take it from there.
Yes, so I'm a former scientist, former pro athlete, and full-time real estate investor. So got my background is in biology and a master's in biochemical engineering. I tried out for the 2008 Olympics for track and field.
Wow.
I did not make it, but I did get a chance to go to Beijing Games as well to guide run for a Paralympian named Lacey Porter. So he was legally blind. So we were tethered together on our hands. So I was his mirror image. So running. So that was a great opportunity. It was an amazing feat because I was still a little deflated. But it was amazing that I could help someone else realize their dreams.
That's so much. I feel like that's so much of what you're doing right now. And again, you'll talk about this with Crown Capital, but it's a life.
It has a correlation to that. And I always kind of bring that analogy of, that feeling of helping someone and what I'm doing now with Crown Capital. And you are correct. 2013-ish is when, I finally got, that first property, but it was actually, I went almost 36 months, 3 years without a property. So 2000 and, this is another gem for all you guys listening out there. Is that after I didn't make, the Olympics and coming from the Beijing Games, my stepmother and my father were like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to do something. You need to go to work. You need to go to work, whatever. So I went to work for GSK in North Carolina. And what I want to say here is that I was still young, man. I was 26, maybe, I had plenty of time to make a run for the 2012 games, but I let someone else's fear impose on me. So if you're out there listening, don't let someone else's fear, but it doesn't mean they don't love you. They just can't understand. It was a different way of thinking from generations where, my dad worked at Merck Pharmaceuticals, retired from Merck. So that's what he knew to do. And he worked his way up. So, he stayed there for years, put himself through college. He's an amazing man. He started in the mailroom and then worked nights in the mailroom at Merck, went to school in the daytime, and then got his degree and worked his way in Merck. It's a phenomenal and up to a VP level.
Wow.
So a phenomenal man doing that. But you can't let someone's fears be imposing on you.
Tell that to my dad. I'm 30, almost 31, and he still tells me, I can't believe you didn't go to university. And I said, well, it's what it is.
Fun fact, I've done so many deals, and my father has come to see some of my projects. He still won't invest.
That's what the day he invests in your business, that's when you know you made it. That's when you know you made it.
Dude, if I could give you a fist pump on this right now, I swear, you're right. You're right. Still.
That's amazing.
Like, oh, it looks great. Wonderful. Nope.
That's just like my dad. It's fine. We're very much alike, I feel like we're very much alike. Okay, wait, so continue on. I'm sorry. I'm always interrupting.
So, I went to work at GSK. This is after, so this is about 2009. They call us in. They were shutting down the building. Anybody that was in North Carolina, the Research Triangle Park, it was the building that looks like a beehive. It was called the Lion Hitchens building. It was like a big beehive. If you were down there around this time, you're well aware of them shutting down that building. And so when I was basically getting fired, it's a tactful firing. That's what they're called. When you say lay off, you still got fired. It's a graceful firing,
Yeah.
I think it's actually worse because it's like a slow death. Like, that day is coming. And now it's anxiety of like, oh my goodness, I have to find this. I have to find a job. Being terminated is probably almost better. It's like a Band-Aid. It's like right off. And like now you can immediately move on, But that's my mind.
I know how it feels. It's like So when you talk about a lot of layoffs in the industry and everybody's saying, oh, Amazon is going to lay off some people. So am I that person or not?
You're that person. Like that is like the nerve-wracking feeling. And after that, that was kind of what drove me into real estate, because I didn't want anyone to ever had that power over me.
How do you come over something like, how do you overcome something like this? I can only imagine that feeling. And, it's both being laid off and then saying, I'm going to do real estate, but not only that, I'm going to do it by myself, or with partners, but I'm going to be running the business. What a great transition. It's an athlete transition, I feel like.
I was going to say, when you say, how do you handle that? I always feel that people should play some type of competitive, it doesn't have to be a sport, but it's some type of competition, because you need to learn how to lose and handle defeat and handle heartbreak. And so you can move on, and that's one thing that I think everyone should do. It doesn't have to be maybe an athletic sport. There's plenty other types of competitions that you can have that same emotion. But I believe that you need to learn how to lose, or to have that feeling, of losing, because of what that does to you, and then how it progresses you as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was a pro tennis athlete in Israel for 12 years, 14 years. I lost I lost so much, I can't even remember how much I lost, but I remember every time I won, by the way. Every time I won, I remember.
You always do. I always tell people like this, think about this. I trained 4 years, and in under 10 seconds, it was over.
Wow.
10 seconds, it was over, and then nothing happened. I'm
what feeling?
You're just
what feeling? I know it feels. It's crazy, but you have such a great background. I mean, you've done so much, and I feel like you give so much inspiration to people. I'm already inspired, and we've been talking for the last 8 minutes. It's already been great. So I wanna discuss a little bit about, we have some topics that you came up with in advance, and I'd like you to I see what you're doing with Crown Capital, right? You're teaching, also you're educating. If anyone didn't see that yet, go to the Crown Capital website. You can learn about, you get a free ebook. You can learn the top 100 multifamily terms, letter of intent, a property management questionnaire, and obviously the due diligence checklist, which I really liked. You can join meetups and also get interested in investing with Crown Capital. What kind of stands behind, not every investment firm does that, where they try to educate everybody. So tell us a little bit about your strategy, what you're doing today, both on the educational side, but also how are you kind of treating the market right now in terms of investments?
Yeah, I think we just want to be true to us. And I think, I have two partners, Lupe and Tiffany, and we're definitely exactly white collar workers, where they're still in the industry right now. I'm still the only full-time investor in our group, and we relate to them. And so what we're trying to do is just show them, we're not, I hear other, syndicators or fund managers tell them not to do this and don't put your money in the stock market, don't put it here. That's not our strategy. What we're trying to educate people, that there are more ways to build your nest egg than just contributing to your 401k blindly, but to your company. You don't even know where it's going. So, we're just showing that there's different ways. We're not telling you to avoid the stock market. I still invest in the stock market. I know how I have my portfolio set up, but I still invest in the stock market. But I do know over the last, 10, 11 years, real estate has definitely kicked my stock market's returns ass, so I do know that. So I can, we try to be relatable, to the sense that we know what it feels like when we do our weekly meetup. It's at 7 p.m. We know people have had a long work day, and so we're just trying to give value to people so they can just educate themselves so that they can make the right choice. Because I always say there are a lot of great marketers out there, but comes to this real estate stuff, there's very far and few that really know how to operate and and asset manage. Because there are a lot of people who are trying to just get paid on acquisition fees, which I think is, I don't want to sound like a hater or anything like that. Because
no, that's okay. It's not a hater. It's your strategy.
I feel like it's sometimes if you're just picking up projects to get acquisition fees, you're not truly stabilizing the property. And, there's a lot that goes into getting a business plan and executing a business plan for a building. And when you're holding on to someone's money, that can be their last, that can be one of their children's college fee. It could be anything. I don't care what the amount is. It's theirs and they're entrusting you. And so we take that so serious. It also gives me a level of anxiety, which while I probably have maybe 2 to 3 more years in syndications, because it's a certain anxiety that I have, that I'm reviewing metrics all the time because I'm looking for the best interest of my investors, and I'm really trying to protect it. But it's like, oh my goodness, what's happened here? And I'm on the property manager's like, hey, what's this going on here? Why are we on doing this? And I have to really be a iron fist because I have people to answer to, and I don't want to let them down. That is like my mom's money's in there. She's retired. Her money's in there, And so I'm just like, no, I can't let it fail.
I know. I've heard this many times from syndicators. I know that specifically also multifamily has been booming in the last 10, 14 years, specifically the last 4 or 5 years. It's been a crazy asset class to invest in. I feel like what's happening now, which could be part of the anxiety, but also maybe there's something behind that too, is, when we're seeing a few days ago, I had a conversation with a great guy called Paul Thompson. And I told him, what are you doing right now where interest rates are so high and it's really hard to to pay returns to your investors, and high returns like you probably promised them at the beginning of the project? And he says, Asaf, you're fundamentally mistaken by saying they are very high. So if you look at the history of real estate,
I've been telling that.
That is the real.
So rates, but they're not only like our interest rates, I think, are leveling out to where I've said this in other podcasts. Like I totally agree with that statement. Yes.
So he said this is where they should be, and the idea right now is to actually invest, like you said, actually find the right properties that you're able to stabilize over time. So I wanted to know if you have a cool story about one of the recent deals that you've made, or one of the assets you want to talk about, of how you were able to stabilize them even in this interest rate environment where it's a little bit higher than what we were used to in the last 10, 14 years.
Dude, I have tons of them. Two. Just because I've recently been doing two refis that were just done in May, and then I just got a new acquisition, a 20 unit. And so I'll go with the bad. I don't want to call it bad, but you mentioned what is changing in banking terms, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the financial industry right now. And so I had a bank that I was doing a refi on one of a commercial building, and I want a small apartment building. And the day beforehand, they changed the terms on me. I was like, I thought it was rate locked. And they were like, yo, I'm sorry, we're going to have to go up 1%, and we're going to hold back, because it was a cash out refi. They're holding back $25,000 in their money market account, and I can get it after a year with my DCR staying above 1.25.
Wow.
And excuse me, I was asking them, like, well, how did you come up with that number of 25,000? They couldn't explain it. It's an internal number. I'm like, what do you mean? And this is a smaller bank that I was dealing with, but now I'm thinking about going back to like my TD banks, my Wells Fargo, Chases. I just think it's for me, I can kind of see the tell the time right now to go with the bigger banks. It was better for me previously to go with the smaller because the underwriters and things of that nature. But I think now they're just kind of, I don't want to say they're tightening up. It's just coming up with some unsavory like rules.
I know.
And just yesterday, I did another refi on a commercial building. So it's a brick and mortar, commercial on the bottom, apartments up top. I closed on it, and I get all these calls from the title company like, oh, we sent the wire to your account, but they're saying it's not supposed to go there. So the company is changing, the bank is changing the rules and saying, oh no, this money has to go into their account here. And we made you an account. I was like, how did you make me an account? No one even told me, informed me at your branch or at your bank. So I'm just noticing the things for the little banks. As far as larger commercial loans, the lenders, you should be probably looking at 65%, 55 to 65% loan to value now, bringing that cash right now. I've seen anywhere, even a small credit union in San Antonio for a deal we were trying to do in Lubbock. He wanted the DSCR to be above 1.40, which was very interesting. Post-closing liquid, normally it's about 2 to 3%. Now I'm seeing about 10, to above 10% or more. They want to see liquid afterwards. So I'm seeing those type of things going. And as far as another creative deal, I got a 20 unit in Houston, and I closed that for under $5,000. Well, it was like $5,100.
Wow.
I got that on a plane ride.
No way.
Mine in Houston, and I heard the lady over talking. And so I always tell people it pays to pay for first class.
Talk about networking, right?
Yeah, it pays sometimes to go. You may not be able to do it all the time, but it pays to be in a certain area. And, so I'm fine, it's first class, and I'm overhearing her, giving a grievance to her seatmate. I'm over here, and I'm just like, I do real estate. We do a handshake deal. And this is where it goes a little risky. A handshake deal. I named the flight after the LLC after the flight. So the flight name is Flight 8385. I named it after the LLC. I take it over the building. What happened was her husband died, and the property manager down there didn't pay her for over a year. And so I told her, I was like, hey, what are your needs? She says, I just want to make sure I can pay the debt because the money from the trust is lowering. So I said, I'll go and handle it. I took over the property management. This is January 26th that this happened. So I had to rush in there, basically fire the property manager, tell the tenants, hey, I need you to send this money to this account, and they're like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, hey, I'm the new guy. So this is what's going to happen. I need to get all these rents in. So you don't go to this other lady that was really she's a terrible person. I told her she's a sewer. This is a terrible person that's taking that woman's money. And I got it set up. I ended up stabilizing the property. I went actually officially to title in April. So officially closing in title. So it is a subject to deal. That means, for all you, everyone doesn't know, subject to deal means that you take over the deed to the property, but the mortgage still remains in that person's name. There are some do's and don'ts to that. There's always the due on sale clause that a mortgage company, if they see that the property was transferred to another entity or individual, they can call that loan. Fortunately, they didn't actually talk to the gentleman of that bank. And he was like, oh, you're the one paying this. I was like, yep, I'm the one paying it. We had the T12, and he was like, and I told him, like, we're working right now on another debt service. He was like, great. And I said, all I need is another 45 days. I do have a broker from Graysteel working on this deal right now. Nick, if anybody knows from Graysteel, Nick is a great guy right now. So he's helping me out on that. But that's how I got that deal for under $5,100.
That's insane. What a great networking story. I mean, it's sometimes things that just happen, right? Like you're in the right place in the right time. You hear the right sentence from someone, and just things happen.
And I wasn't even supposed to be on that flight. That's the crazy thing. It got delayed. I was coming from Lubbock, and there was a storm in Lubbock, and that's how I got pushed to be on that flight. It's insane.
It's all in we call it here in Israel, we call it the universe. Some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people just say, things happen as they should be, like destiny. I think that entrepreneurs will always be entrepreneurs. And if your ears are open to something, good things are going to happen to you. So I really love what you're doing. I really love those stories and how you kind of changed your life into real estate. You built your investor club, and you're doing great things with Crown Capital. For every episode that we do, we have this, what I call a shameless plug. This is where you have the opportunity to say to our audience, which is very quickly growing, as to what you're looking for today, how you can help them if they want to, how they can reach you. It's a shameless plug, so you can say whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah. I love talking real estate. I can do that as much as I like talking about sports. I'm a big tennis fan as well. So so I love all sports, but I have a funny story about me playing tennis as well. But I can be reached at noel@crowncapitalcorp.com. I can also always give out my phone number, 267-265-3721. I normally respond to everyone within 24 hours. I'm big on, I don't think anyone is that important that we can't send a, hey text or something like that to get it rolling. We always have conflicts or constraints, but I'm always a one feeling like, you know what, I can give decency to answer someone. So, and I'm always here to give any type of information. I like to show people the truth about, HUDs, loans, how much do you really make doing multifamily? If you're trying to start it on your own, or you're trying to go syndication, or you're trying to go funds, because every situation presents a different opportunity. I always tell people you don't need, everyone doesn't have to hit home runs to make it to the Hall of Fame. So I'm always teaching, like, what is your financial vitality? What do you want out of life? And that will dictate how many, how much money you need to earn, because we don't make money, how much you want to earn, how do you want to distribute that? How much do you want to give? I'm always big on this too. How much do you want to give away for charity or tide it away? You have to have a good portion of, and this is just me being, I guess it's a particular thing that I do. Not all investors do it. But if you talk to me, I'm always talking about, all right, yes, what value can I, bring to you to help you? But then what value are you going to bring to someone else? We have to operate in abundance, but, a closed fist cannot receive nothing if it can't give anything as well. So, I always try to push that.
It's amazing, Noel. I love it. I love your strategy. I love how you kind of treat life and how you treat different partners. Everybody now knows how to reach you. Your number. I also recommend to go to crowncapitalcorp.com, specifically to the Learn tab if you're looking to learn something new, or to portfolio or invest with us. CTAs on the top. They're going to help you learn more about the deals that Noel is running right now with Crown Capital. Noel, it was such an amazing episode. I have to keep it short and quick for the coffee break. Oh, by the way, how was the mug? Did you get the mug?
Yes, I have it. I love it. I was like, I need to pull it up right now. So I actually have water in it right now because I don't drink coffee.
That's great. No, that's
I wanted to go ahead and pour it up. Can I drink out of it real quick?
Of course. Go on.
Yes. I love it.
That's amazing. That's so great. It says, I was a guest on the Dealmakers podcast, and all I got is this lousy mug. So I hope you enjoy your lousy mug, like everybody else.
I really want to take a screenshot of this so I can post it to my feed.
Go ahead. I'm doing it right now. Wait. I'll send it to you. 1, 2, 3. Ready? There we go. Perfect. I'm sending it over. This is so great. Thank you so much, Noel. Thank you for joining us. Check out more episodes on the Dealmakers podcast, available on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, and Agora's website at agorareal.com/podcast. See you in the next episode.